Hello friends, welcome to course 1 Advanced Bank Management. So in this session, we will learn about the fundamental of human resource management. Let's start with the introduction part. See, an organization is the unit which is a part of the society. So any organization, for example, say your bank is also the part of the society, right? It has a structure and which follow a certain system. These systems are put in a place to achieve the certain goals that are collectively decided by the organization as a whole. So obviously every organization has its own goal and objective, right? So to achieve that objective, everyone working in the bank, working in the organization. So people have a vital role to play in deciding and achieving the goal. Who are deciding the goals? Who are achieving the goal? Obviously, people's, right? It may be the top management to decide the goal, and the lower management, we all are working to achieve that goal, right? So obviously, what is the important thing? People in the organization are having the vital role. Organizations are the social system that combine people and science. So what I can see, organization are combining what? The people and science. People and science. However, we can say organization can combine the humanity and the technology. Why? Because using the technology, the human which the people which we are implementing it, so we can see the people and the science combined at organization, humanity and technology are combined at the organization. Manpower, however, occupy the central place in each and every aspect of the organization. It is very, very important. You cannot separate the people and the organization. You cannot separate the employees and the organization, because employee and organization both are the integral part. They are the integral part. So manpower, the employee, is the at a central place in each and every aspect of the organization. Now see Peter Drucker in his book The Land of Marks of Tomorrow. The Peter Drucker has written one book in the name. The name is The Land of Marks of Tomorrow. Emphasizes the qualitative aspect of management, for example, the change, innovation, motivation, or the technical discipline. Very, very important. Peter Drucker has written a book. Remember, okay? What is the book? The Land of Marks of Tomorrow. The Land of Marks of Tomorrow. In his book, he focuses on the qualitative aspect of management. Means what? He thinks that only quantity is not enough. We have to focus on quality also. So qualitative management focused by Peter Drucker in his book The Land of Marks of Tomorrow. Okay. Now he also states that each member of the enterprises contribute something differently, right? But they must contribute towards the common goal. That means contribution from each individual is expected by the Peter Drucker. Okay, she states that each member of the enterprises contributes something different, but they must have contribution towards the common goal, right? So this is the view of Peter Drucker. Remember the quality aspect of management given by the Peter Drucker in his book The Land of Marks of Tomorrow. Important for exam point of view. Okay. Now the perspective. What do you mean by perspective? Perspective means pre-decided opinion. Okay. So historically, HR was viewed as the unessential, the record keeping or welfare function only. But this perspective is now changed. Now, currently also in banks, many of the people think that HR is only to do the work of unessential work. The record keeping is the work of HR, managing the welfare function for the employees. So we can say this is simply the unwanted function done by the HR. This was the previous view. Now this view is changed. The perception of HR is evolved significantly, transferring from an administrative function to the strategic partner in the organization. So previously, only administrative function was done by the HR. It was the perspective that HR is only for doing the administrative function. However, in the current scenario, HR is the strategic partner in the organization. HR is the strategic partner. So the perspective has been changed from administrative to the strategic partner. Changes in the workforce demographic, the production partner, the work ethics, and the IT globalization have influenced this shift in HR. Why? Basically, the perspective about the HR has been changed due to the work ethics are changed, the information technology, the globalization. Apart from that, the workforce demographics has been changed. The production pattern has been changed. What do you mean by demographic? Means what? See, in one organization, we can see the people across the India, from Jammu, Kashmir to Kerala, from northeast to west. So from every state we can see the people are there. So demographic workforce is there. Production pattern has been changed. Previously manual production was there. Now the people are using the technology. So we can see these are the important factor which changes the perspective from administrative function of HR to the strategic partner of in the organization. Human capital is now recognized as the primary source of wealth creation. It is very, very important. See, human capital means what? Simply the employee. These are the main source of creation of a wealth. Organizations are formed through the interdependency of individual need and the organization goes. So obviously, see, individual means simply the employee working in the organization and the organization. So if employees are satisfied, then obviously they will contribute to the goal of an organization, right? So individual needs should be satisfied and the organization goal should be meet. So that means we can say the individual needs and the organization goal, these are interdependency. They are interdependable, right? According to the Edgar Schein, it is really important for exam point of view. Edgar Schein says that basically Edgar Schein has defined the organization. He has defined the organization. So according to the Edgar Schein, organization is defined as the rational coordination of activity for achieving the common objective involving the division of labor, hierarchy of authority, and the responsibility. Right? So what Edgar Schein says, the Edgar Schein says organization, how we can define basically the organization. So according to him, organization is simply the coordination of activity to achieve the common objective which involve division of labor. What is division of labor? Simply big tasks should be divided into small tasks and that can be assigned to the different people. Okay, it is the division of labor. Hierarchy must be there. For example, in the bank we are having hierarchy, clerk, officer, the manager, senior manager, like that, and there should be according to responsibility. So this is the definition given by the Edgar Schein. Okay, very, very important. Edgar Schein defined the organization. Okay, now see here, two interdependent aspect of management. So I have already told you the people in the organization and the organization itself, we cannot separate it. The people and the organization, they are interdependent to each other. Okay, now see historical perspective of a management. So how historically the perspective on the about the management, about the HR has been evolved. So the Robert Owen emphasized investing in worker condition to boost the productivity. So he has think worker like a vital machine. It is very important. For example, point of view also that Robert Owen says that worker, you should improve the working condition of the employee. Okay, if they are happy to work, obviously the productivity will increase. So Robert Owen called the employee the vital machine. Is very, very important for exam point of view. It's start question, right? So remember, the Robert Owen called the employee are the vital machine. For example, point of view, it is important. Now Charles Babbage. Who is Charles Babbage? The father of computer. You are very much aware, right? So Charles Babbage advocated the division of labor, scientific principle to enhance the efficiency and reduce the cost. Okay, so it is very important for example point of view also that Charles Babbage has also advocated. He has not pioneered or given the concept, but he has advocated, means promoted the division of labor, the scientific principle to enhance the efficiency and reduce the cost. Okay, next is the Frederick Taylor. The scientific management approach conceptualized and pioneered by the Frederick Taylor. Okay, Frederick W. Taylor. It is very, very important again for example point of view. Who given the scientific management approach? Simply given by the Frederick Taylor, pioneered by the Frederick Taylor. His major contribution was division of labor and the time and motion study. Also very, very important. Time and motion study. Who contributed towards the time and motion study? So answer is Frederick Taylor. Who contributed towards the division of labor? Answer is Frederick Taylor. Who coined the term scientific management? Frederick Taylor. Okay, who pioneered the concept of scientific management approach? Frederick Taylor. So this is very, very important for example of you again. Next is the Abraham Maslow. So Abraham Maslow given the need hierarchy theory, also called as the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, there are 5 needs they have given. Okay, we will see that in this in detail. Okay, however, for this point of time, you only remember that Abraham Maslow has given the hierarchy of needs. Means what? See, basically, what are our priority of the needs? For example, we need the food, then we need the shelter, then we seek the job, then we seek the self-respect. So these are different type of needs they have explained as per the hierarchy. Means once first need satisfied, people can seek for the second need, then third, like that. Okay, very simple. Okay. Next is the scientific management approach. So this was based on the following assumption. So scientific management approach based on the assumption. What are the assumptions? So see here. The task can be broken down into the simple unit for a people to understand and the perform. So obviously, if big task is there, right, we will break the task into the small units, and we will assign that to the people so that small task people can easily understand to perform. The people will do any given activity in return for me. Obviously, principle is very clear. Whatever we do for the money. We work in the bank, not only to get respect. Obviously, our aim is to earn the money, to survive in society, right? So, everybody will work in return of money was the primary assumption in the scientific management approach. The people have to do what is defined by the organization, in turn by the technology. Obviously, people, the employee, they are supposed to follow the instruction from the management or by the organization, not not any by their own mind. Obviously means what? Simply take the money and do the work like that. Okay. So this is a scientific management approach. This approach concentrated only on the activity implied on the work, and they completely ignore the activity like a behavior activity, like for example the fatigue, the boredom. Means what? People get bored. That means that scientific management approach completely ignored the people in the organization. They are more focused towards only doing the work from the employee. So their human nature, the people, how they feel, their personal needs, everything was ignored. That's why that is resulted into the unionism among the laborers. Okay, so we can say that the scientific management approach gives rise to the unions into the industry. Okay, the landmark study, right, by the Elton Mayo. So Hawthorne studies, the landmark, that means simply remember one thing. The Hawthorne studies by the Elton Mayo in from 1924 to 1933 shifted the management thought towards the more human centric. So we can say scientific management approach was not human centric approach. It was only towards the work. However, the Hawthorne study conducted by the Elton Mayo, that study basically shifted the approach to the human-centric approach. Means human should be considered, means employee should be considered as a human, not a machine. Okay. So Hawthorne study played an important role in that. Okay. Now, one important thing for exam point of view again. Okay. So what is the current world? In which world we are working? Current world is VUCA world. Current world is VUCA. This is very star question for exam point of view. The traditional management philosophy are becoming less applicable in today's VUCA world. So, if you in a corporate, there is a very common this word VUCA world. VUCA means what? VUCA stands for the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Okay. So, in the examination, they will not ask you about the explanation for the VUCA. They will simply ask in the VUCA world. So, C stands for. So answer should be complexity. They will ask you in the VUCA word, A stands for ambiguity. So full form is the first thing you should priorly remember. Okay. V for volatility, U for uncertainty, C for complexity, and A for ambiguity. So it is very simple to understand the meaning. Volatility means what? Nothing is stable. It is volatile. Currently, the key aspect of your work subject to the major and unacceptable peak and the drops. So that means your work is volatile. Uncertainty means the future is unknown, it is uncertain. Complexity means too many factors are interconnected, that is complexity. Ambiguity means it is simply the very much conflicting, noisy, unable to get the actual voice or the clear data. It is called as ambiguity. Okay, so remember only the full form. At least for example, it is very important because in the previous exam also they have asked the in the VUCA stands for, okay, V for volatility, U for uncertainty, C for complexity, and A for the ambiguity. So that is what you have to remember. Okay, apart from that, Bani world is there. Bani world is the conceptual framework for coined by the futuristic and author James Cascio. The James Cascio. Okay, so again, who coined the Bani world? The James Cascio, that describe the current state of our world. Okay, so we can say the Bani stands for brittle, anxious, non-linear, and the incomprehensible. I repeat, for example point of view, this is also again important. Remember, B for brittle, A for anxious, N for non-linear, and I for incomprehensible. Incomprehensible means you cannot judge something. It is not unable to draw the conclusion. Non-linear, right? Means not straightforward. Anxious means too much worried. Brittle means it can be broken down at any point of time. Okay, so Bani stands for, again I repeat, the brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible. That full form, again, you have to remember. Okay. Next is the development of people management function. Friends, see, the industrial revolution, there was a need to have the separate department for the finance, accounting, and the production. However, the need for the department to manage the people arose much later. That means obviously, previously there were only a few departments like the finance department will be there, accounting, and the production. There was no HR department previously, right? So there are two major approaches prevalent in the people management. First is the hard-headed profit-minded approach, and the second is the focus on which focuses on utilization of human resource as an outcome of economics and the accounting. And second was the social welfare approach, that is an outcome of social psychology. Now see, there are two approaches for managing the people. Okay, first is the profit minded and second is the social welfare. So profit minded means what? Whatever the people are working, we don't care about them. We only focus on economics and the accounting. Means what? The profit we are focusing. And the social welfare approach is the outcome of social psychology. Means what? We will also consider the employee as human. Okay, so these two approaches to manage the people. However, this dual approach seems to hamper the development of professional within the segment, as each approach seems to work at the expense of other. That means you cannot implement both the approaches simultaneously. If you have to earn the profit, you have to ignore the social or the employee benefits. If you have to work as a social welfare, then you have to ignore the profit. Right? So very simple. So simple example. Profit minded approach. Which bank? The private banks. Social welfare approach. Small but little bit now tough we can say, but still we can say the public sector banks. Okay. So in that way you can easily remember. Okay. Now relationship between the HRM and HRD and the structure and the function. See, in 1992, Seth described the present perspective of HRM like this. So in 1992, say 20-30 years ago, how the Seth defined the HRM. So HRM assumes that the management of the people, it is an integral part of the resource management task within the enterprises for achievement of organization objective. So we can say the Seth says in 1992 that the management of the people is the integral part of the resource management. Okay. Apart from that, human beings develop a stake in the enterprise as they work it, and hence their motivation, development, growth, which constitute a critical factor in the development and the growth of organization. Obviously, whatever human working in the organization, in the enterprises, they must be motivated, developed, and their growth will result into the growth of organization. A crucial managerial responsibility is to make the continuing effort to harmonize the interest and the growth of the organization. So obviously, crucial manager responsibility. What is the crucial responsibility of any manager? Simply, we have to continue to the effort to harmonize the interest of the organization and the individual employee also. So if employee grow, then we can say organization will definitely grow. So human sensitivity, trust in the people, the participative management, these are treated as the part of a management culture. These are the part of management culture and the philosophy. Okay, so this is the definition or the perspective about the people management given by the Seth in 1992. Okay, now HRD and HRM. See, there is no conflict between the structure and the function of HRD and HRM. Okay, there is no conflict. Remember, there is no any conflict or the confusion between the structure or the function under the HRM and the HRD. HRM means human resource management. HRD means human resource development. Okay. HRM is the umbrella function for developing the people related systems. I repeat, HRM is the umbrella system. So I can say that under the HRM there is HRD, because HRM is a big subject. HRM is a big, whereas HRD is small. So I can say that HRD is subsystem of HRM. So HRM is a bigger concept. HRD is a part of HRM only. Okay, so this is all HRM. So I can say, I repeat that the HRM, under the HRM there is HRD. In another way, HRD is a subsystem of HRM. HRD is a subsystem of HRM. Okay, M is management. It is a broader concept. So what are the subcomponents of HRM? Very simple. The administrative, the developmental, and the maintenance. Okay, so remember, what are the subcomponents of HRM? So in HRM, we are having administrative, developmental, and the maintenance component. Okay, what is maintenance? See, maintenance means simply which include, see, HRM function include the maintenance function. What is the maintenance function? The maintenance function of the HRM focuses on the retaining employee by ensuring the positive and supportive work environment. Maintenance means what? We have to retain the employee. We have to retain the employee within the organization by giving them a good working condition, the good work culture. Okay, so that the employee should not leave the organization. That is called the maintenance. Okay, now next, see, the development function, which include the development and growth, the performance appraisal, the feedback, counseling, the career planning, training and mentoring, culture and the climate development, and so on. Means what? We have to develop the things in the organization which include the employee feedback, counseling, their career pattern, the training, their mentoring, etc. etc. What are the administrative function then? Simply recruitment and selection, employee compensation, employee welfare. These are the part of administrative function. So in the examination, they can ask you which of the following is not a developmental function. They will ask you which of the following is not the administrative function of the HRM. So simply remember, recruitment, selection, the employee pay scale, there is compensation, the employee welfare, these are the part of administrative function of the HRM. However, the developmental function like career planning, the training, mentoring, preparation, the development of culture, climate development in the organization, the performance appraisal, feedback, these are the part of developmental function of HRM. Okay, maintenance means simply we should make the environment in such a way that employee should not leave the organization. This is called maintenance function. Okay. Now see, personal management and the HRD, human resource development, these are not a synonymous term. Because see, they are related, but they are not a synonymous. See, the personal management or the people management and human resource development, these are not the same. They are related to each other, but they are not the same. Remember, okay. Personal management primarily focuses on the administrative and operational aspect of the management of employee. However, the HRD is a broader concept which emphasizes developing the employee to achieve the individual and the organizational goal. So very simple. In a simple way, I can say that personal management is like doing only the administrative function. However, the HRD is doing the developmental functions. Okay, human relation and the human resource development, HR and HRD, these are concerned with the employee and they are not same. Again, I repeat, like people management and the HRD are not same. In the same way, HR and HRD is also not the same. HR focuses on the human relation, on managing the existing workforce. However, HRD focuses on the developing the future workforce through training and development. Okay, so in that way, HR and HRD is different. The human relation movement primarily focused on improving the employee morale and the productivity through the better management and the employee relationship. However, we can say that HRD is a subsystem of HRM. HRD is a subsystem of HRM. Remember, HRD and HRM are more or less not the same concept. These are not same concept. However, we can say HRD is a subsystem of HRM. Okay, remember that. Now, role of HR professional. See, accounting basically, accounting concepts, these are a basic assumption. Okay, now see, role of HR professional. See here, Parikh Rao in 1981, Parikh and Rao in 1981 grouped the multiple function of the HR under 5 heading. That means they have segregated the role of HR into 5 segments. Okay, so who have segregated the role? Simply remember Parikh and Rao. Okay, what are that role? I repeat, the supportive role, the developmental role, the managerial role, the role of developing competence and the process. Okay, so one by one we will see. I repeat, the role of HR professional was categorized by Parikh and Rao. First is the supportive role. So this role led to the strengthening of operating and the executive level, consolidating the strength in the organization. Means simply to provide the support. Supportive role means what? We have to strengthen what? The operating and the executive level. Means what? Whatever the operations are there, we have to support them obviously, or then only it will get strengthened. Okay, so we have to support the operations in the organization, and obviously that will result into the betterment of the organization. Okay, so simply, what is the role of HR? So HR perform the supportive role. Second, the role of system development and the research. So this pertain to developing the system that deal with the people, their problem and organization dynamics. So obviously, right, to develop the system means what? Whatever the system in the as a HR we are having, we have to develop it, right? So developing the system which are dealing with the people and their problem, right? So mainly system development and the research is the role of HR. Managerial role that relate to the performance to performing the managerial function, for example, planning the future manpower, the recruitment, utilizing by the placement, the retaining of the employee, motivating and integrating the people and their role, the performance and the potential assessment, the planning and growth of individual. So these are the role of manager which HR supposed to do. Okay. So what role of HR having? The supportive role HR having, the role of system development and the research, the managerial role also done by the HR. For example, recruitment, then performance appraisal, retention of the employee. So these are the role done by the HR. Apart from that, HR does the role of developing the competency among the employed. So this refers to the technical managerial competency, processing the competence among the human resource. So whatever the employee we are having, we should train them in such a way that they should be competent enough to do the work. Okay. So the new perspective also include helping and coping the competence. Helping and coping with the competence means what? Our employee should be the best. We should help them and we should prepare in such a way that they are able to cope any circumstances into the market. Next, the process role. Creating necessary culture and the value in the organization, diagnosing the problem in the organization level and taking corrective steps at are the related responsibility of the HR function. So what are the process role HR doing? Maintaining the necessary culture and the value in the organization is also the work of HR. So I will simply remember the name itself first. Okay, remember the name. What are the roles of HR? They are having supportive role, they are having system development and the research, the managerial role. Apart from that, developing the competency and the process role. Okay, now functionary attributes. See, HR value include the technical, managerial and the personality characteristics. So what are the attributes of HR? Remember, there are some technical, managerial and personality. Remember, right? Technical means what? He should be able, he should have the competency in the technical roles. Managerial means what? What are the personality? Okay, one by one we will see. Again, Parikh and Rao have identified the critical attribute for dispensing the role of HR, which include technical, managerial and personality. Okay, so these are the technical characteristics of the HR must have. Okay, so very simple, don't need to mug up, just go through it. The HR in with respect to technical, he should have knowledge of appraisal system and their function. He should have ability to understand the potential of appraisal and its system development. The HR should have technique with respect to technicality. He should be familiar with the trust and the measurement of behavior. He should be able to design and coordinate the paying program. He should be professionally knowledgeable. He should know the insight in the behavioral science. He should have the comprehensive knowledge about the organizational structure, knowledge of career planning, skill in counseling, and proficiency in technical behavioral research. So these are the attributes with respect to technical the HR must have. Okay. Now with respect to the manager, what attribute the characteristics the HR have? Organizing ability. So obviously HR should have the organizing ability. HR should have system and development skill with respect to the manager. What about the personality? HR should be have a trait of initiative. Means what? He should take the initiative. He should have faith in human being. He should have the positive attitude. He should be good imagination and creativity. The concern for the excellence, the concern for the people, the friendly, socially, and also applicable, right? Attitude for the research, interest in the learning the new thing. These are the personal trait he should have. Okay, very simple, right? So only one thing you remember here. What are the functionary attributes or the HR attribute must have? Okay, so technical, managerial, and personality. Okay, in that three category we have divided. Okay, simply remember that, and it is identified by the Parikh and Rao. Remember Parikh and Rao. Okay. Now next thing is what? The HR competency model. Okay. So the Confederation of Indian Industry, CAII, Confederation of Indian Industry, has created the HR competency model. So they have identified the 19 essential competency for HR head, including, so it is mainly for HR head. So if we have to appoint any HR head in the organization, he must have that 19 essential competency. Okay. So out of that 19, you simply remember that 9 are about the behavior and 10 are about the function. Okay. So 9 are the behavioral competency and 10 are the functional competency in the CII's HR competency model. Total 19 competency are there. What the HR must have? Simply, right? He must have Behavioral competency, which include communication, initiative, drive, creativity, self-confidence, the teamwork influence, the problem solving, and the interpersonal skill. Apart from that, 10 functional competency, the business knowledge, the change management, the diversity management, the service orientation, the execution of excellence, financial perspective, the building expertise, personal credibility, relationship management, and the strategic thinking. I don't expect from you that you are able to remember this all, okay? But you should remember only that CII has given the HR competency model, and in that model, 9 are about the behavioral competency and 10 are about the functional competency. At least you should remember this much. Okay. If in the exam they ask, you can easily judge about the which follow to which category. Okay. Now, a study conducted by Agrawal and other in 1990 highlighted that improvement in the HRM professionalism due to what? Due to the individual effort, organizational support, academic institution different, and the professional body. That means everybody has contributed for improvement in the HR as per the study conducted by Agrawal and other in 1990. Okay. Now we have to discuss one important model, SHRM model. SHRM stands for Society for Human Resource Management. Very simple, right? Full form is very simple. SHRM stands for Society for Human Resource Management. A successful contemporary HR business leader should possess the 9 critical competency from the SHRM competency model. So, in the previous slide, we learned that the CII given the competency model which have a 19 competency. However, in SHRM, there are only 9 competency. Okay, that figure you remember. Okay, what are that? Simply the leadership and navigation. Okay, then the ethical practice, the business acumen, the relationship management, the consultation, critical evaluation, and global and the cultural effectiveness, communication, and HR effectiveness. So these are the nine competency SHRM competency model is having. Okay, I am also repeating that it is not expected from your side that you should be able to remember. Okay, but you at least remember the full form. SHRM stands for Society for Human Resource Management, and it having 9 critical competency. Remember, it is having nine figure. You remember. Okay. Now, next is the strategic HRM. See, the following chart dissipate the conceptual understanding of HR value, contribution to the business as to boost to SHRM. So, simply see what are the role as an HR they have to do, right? And what we are expecting. Okay, now see to chart. If HR is what HR's role is there, core people role, organizational value role, and a business transformation role. Okay. Now, broad function under each role. If HR is performing the core people role, then the selection of the employee, orientation, their career development, motivation, compensation, welfare of services, the retention and termination, these all part of the core people role. Okay. If HR is doing the organizational value addition role, in that case, HR technology services, creating a learning work environment, the organizational development and the counseling. So these are the part of organizational value addition role. Here we are adding something value. Okay. Next is the business transformation role. So in that case, business transformation, how the HR doing? HR can do create the flexible work culture. They can align the HR initiative to the business strategy. They will implement the organizational change and transition in ease manner. They can assess the return on investment and human capital. Okay, so these are the business transformation. So easily you can able to get the idea. Okay, what HR's role is there in case of strategic HRM. Core people means only with respect to the people. Organizational value addition means something new, right? Creating work environment better. Business transformation means aligning the business objective in line with the HR. So HR's changing role as a strategic business partner. Okay. So Aldrich in 1998 opines that means he thinks that HR has never been more necessary as it today means that today HR is the most necessary thing. In 1998 he said that HR are most necessary. Okay. Whatever the necessity of HR we are feeling, it was not felt before, said by Aldrich in 1988. Okay. Now, emerging new role of HR professional under the strategic HRM. Okay. This is not important for exam point of view, but just as a part of syllabus, we just briefly see it. Okay. Today's HR must involve a strategic business partner. HR is not only the traditional to do the work, it has to be the business partner. The HR the professional should empower like a manager, line manager, to handle the employee needs and maximize the potential for the bank's benefit. What is a line manager? Line manager with respect, this is the concept in the industry. 9 to 10 workers are there, and on that worker there is one supervisor called as line manager. In the same way, branch manager we are having. Okay, line manager should take on more HR like responsibility. While HR focuses on the creating broader policy and acting as supportive system, HR should go HR should be go to for comprehensive policy, not every individual policy. That means obviously whatever the policy should be there, that should be applicable to whole organization. Continuous skill alignment through training and development. There is a need to specialized courses like Master of Human Resource Management. Strong knowledge and the skill in IT, HR should possess. The HR should have the strategic thinking and the adaptability. So these are the expectations under the strategic HR in banks. Okay, so very easy. No need to remember anything because I just theory part just to go through it. Okay, now see development of HR function in India. So initially, HR duties included recruitment, maintaining the record, and the basic facility only. Okay, however, by 1950, Industrial Dispute Act added the legal responsibility to their role, requiring skill in drafting the charge sheets and legal proceedings. Okay, so this in 1950 we get the Industrial Dispute Act. It is a very powerful tool which the laborers is having. So according to the Industrial Dispute Act, and this is a very powerful tool for the laborers. Okay, so if any HR professional working in a legal department how to deal with that, he must have the good skill, good legal skill. Few legislation addresses the employee management. Now see the legislation procedure. There are some laws which are helpful for the employee management. Okay, so Article 61 says that of the Indian Constitution says that equal opportunity must be there for employment. There should not be a discrimination based on anything for the employment. Employment Exchange Act 1959 with respect to the compulsory notification of vacancy means what? If there is a vacancy, employer must notify that vacancy. Says that Employment Exchange Act. The Apprentice Act 1961, it is training linked to employment. So obviously we are very much aware the banks are also recruiting the apprentice. But it is not necessary that they will be hired post apprentice. So this is training linked to employment. We cannot select that, but it is now used as an alternative tool to engage the contract employee. So Child Labor Act 1986 to prevent the child labor. Bonded Labor System Act to prevent the forceful. What is bonded labor? Means they are forced to work. For they have given some loan, for example 50,000. Again that they have to work 1 year with the person who is lender. It is called bonded labor. Interstate Migrant Workmen Act 1979. Establishment of the National HRD Network in 1985 brought under the focus the expertise of the organization which had initiated the HRD activity. Okay, so these are some legislation which are important in the field of HR development. Okay. Now, National Institute of Personnel Management (NIPM) started in 1980. Is the only institute in India of a professional manager engaged in the profession of human resource management, industrial relation, labor welfare, and the training and development. So simply, NIPM means the National Institute of Personnel Management started in 1980, which was engaged in labor welfare, training and development in the country about the people management. Okay, it came into the existence on 15th of March 1980 as a result of merger of two professional bodies. So see, NIPM in 1980 started by merging two organizations. First is the Indian Institute of Personnel Management (IIPM), which was established in 1948 in Kolkata. Then the National Institute of Labor Management (NILM), which was established in 1950 in Bombay. So that two institutes got merged to have the National Institute of Personnel Management. Remember, okay? So Indian Institute of Personnel Management and National Institute of Labor Management, they merged, and after merging, new institute is created called as the National Institute of Personnel Management. That happened in 1980. Okay, so remember that. Okay, the visionary like a Tata, J.N. Tata, emphasized the importance of human factor in the organization, paving the way to proactivize the HR functionally. So obviously, the J.M. Tata. So why? See, we are very much the Tata is the company in the private sector which do take care of the employee, right? So we can say the visionary, the J.N. Tata, we started it, right? So the the Tata Iron and the Steel Company. In short, we can call it TISCO. TISCO stands for Tata Iron and Steel Company. Was groundbreaking in the personal strategy during early HRM development, showcasing the mature approach to the people management. So we can say the giving the good salary, giving the good working condition to the employee definitely started by the TISCO, the Tata Iron Steel Company. Tata Iron and Steel Company. In 1980, we saw a shift in HR in India, which is driven by mainly the Indian scholar like Uday Parikh and the TV Rao. So they contributed a lot of. So TV Rao highlighted that the HR development is critical for business, but it is also importance is often limited in practice. So practically they are noticed that HR development is critical for the business. It is necessary for the business. It is critical, right? But their importance is limited in practice. There's a shift towards the integrating the conceptual and the operational value in the HR. Technology play a big role with the AI streamlining the recruitment and talent. So nowadays technology is very important. AI is coming into picture. So obviously it is helping to streamline the recruitment and the talent management in the field of HR. Overall, we can see that HR shifting towards the more data driven and employee centric approach. Okay, so friends, this is the end of this chapter. You can subscribe us on the YouTube Banker Zone. Don't forget to join our group. There is group Banker Zone CIB. You can directly search Banker Zone CIB to join our group. However, there is one application available in the Play Store. Banker Zone CIB is the name of application. You can download it for full courses. This is our contact number. You can reach us on WhatsApp anytime. Thank you, friends.